Hello, I'm Bill Golden with PWCpolitics.com, and some of you know me as Bill for Dogcatcher, and you can follow me at BillForDogcatcher.com, where I cover all kinds of issues, local, state, across the USA, and internationally. Today I have a very special guest, and this is probably one of the first guests that I've had so far that was actually born in Prince William County. And we're going to follow up on that later. My guest is Toora Arsala. And how you doing?
I am well. Thanks for having me, Bill.
Oh, it's very much my pleasure. Several of the other folks that I've talked to in the community recommended you and said, you know, because my big push is I don't like political talking points. And although I like to think of myself as kind of libertarian, conservative, I don't want to hear talking points from them either. I want to get to different issues. And someone said, you should talk to Toora because Toora is beyond talking points. And but first, let's kind of cover you. So you are an actual, real Prince William County
alum.
Alum. I mean, were you born here?
Yes, I was born and raised here in Prince William County. I was born in 1989. I was born at I was born in Woodbridge, Virginia. It's a very good area, and it's just a really it's really good to be back in Prince William County after a long period of time.
But then you went to school here too. We were talking earlier. You didn't mention the elementary school, but you went to Lake Ridge Middle. Yes,
I went to Lake Ridge Middle School for all of my middle school life. It was a wonderful middle school. It was a great experience. I was actually also on the student council association at the school, and that was actually a very good start to my to learn about politics.
Now, how did you get in the student council?
I got elected by my class as we had a straw poll, and they elected me as they think I'm going to be a wonderful leader one day.
Well, we're going to check that out today on some issues. But you also went to Woodbridge. Now, Woodbridge is not far from here, and, you know, they've had a killer football team for years. My kids went to a different high school, and they have a killer football team, too. But we keep running up against the Woodbridge gang. So you went to Woodbridge High School?
Yes, I went to Woodbridge High School for about one semester until I moved, unfortunately, to Fairfax County. My experience when I first went to Woodbridge High School, it is a very nice school. The administrators are wonderful, and the school is a very nice school. It's right across the street from my old middle school, which is very convenient for me and my family.
But then your father got a new job, different job, and your family moved?
Yes, my parents got a job at the government, and we decided to move to Fairfax County, as it's better because we don't want to be separated from each other.
Oh, sure. Okay, well, but now you're back in Prince William, and you have aspirations that will impact Prince William as well. So I believe that you're running for an office in the Northern Virginia Young Democrats.
Yes, I am a candidate. I'm actually a candidate for the Virginia Young Democrats Disabilities Chair position. I am running because I really care a lot about the community, and because I think it's time for me to step up. As our last chair, I really did not do a wonderful job. And I am also considering running for the Young Democrats of America Disabilities Caucus Chair, as I think I'm ready to go national.
Okay, well, let me ask you. If you're going to represent a group called, or a chair position or committee disabilities, do you yourself have any disability?
I was born developmentally delayed. I have some intellectual disabilities. And ever since, I've been supporting the disabilities community by attending various events in which a lot of people think I'm an inspiration for being here today and stepping up to represent them.
Okay, well, you know, that sounds like a good reason to me. Now, why don't you just tell me a little bit more about Young Democrats? In Virginia, is there such thing as districts? And I'm going to admit that I don't know much about them.
Yes, in Virginia, there are district or county Young Democrats, there's state Young Democrats, and there's also national Young Democrats. I myself, I am a part of the Fairfax County Young Democrats, as I live there, and I'm also the volunteer coordinator for that committee. And I believe that every committee has their own leadership structure and their own group.
Okay, so now you're campaigning for a committee chair position, correct?
I'm currently campaigning for the Fairfax County. Correction. I'm currently campaigning for the Virginia Young Democrats Disabilities Chair position.
Okay, so if you were to get this position, are there any things that you have thought of that specifically that you would like to achieve?
For one, I was at a meeting last night and I got some feedback from some folks that said they were a little upset about when it comes to early voting. A lot of senior citizens can't get to the polls or can't vote or can't understand it. I think as a party we need to change that, and we need to help senior citizens and folks that can't read. I know in New Jersey, I got this example from a good friend of mine. The National Guard actually brought in early absentee ballots, and they actually sat down with senior citizens, folks with disabilities, to help them in the process of voting for our candidates.
Okay. Is there any other thing, let's look at Virginia as a whole. Elections aside, in between the elections, what do you think that we could be doing to help people with disabilities?
For one, I think it would be good for us to reach out to folks with disabilities, hold town hall events. I know a lot of my elected officials care a lot about the community. It would be great for to hold a town hall event to find out from senior citizens, especially with Medicaid and with disability voting rights. I think it would be great for our electeds to hold town halls to meet with the members of the disability community, as they are vitally important as well.
So I know we were talking earlier, and you were a delegate to the 2012 Democratic National Convention. Why don't you tell us a bit about that? Because
yes,
certainly at your age, that is I started in politics myself, very early age, but I never went off to a national convention. That would have been fun.
Yes, it was a very good experience. I got elected at the Virginia State Convention, and it was a very good experience, as I thought I was going to get elected because not a lot of people know me, but I was not on the slate, and I campaigned so hard for myself, and as soon as they were, I was actually in a back room, kind of like praying to make sure something happens, and then I got word that I was elected, and that was actually a dream come true to get a chance to represent a party going to the national convention. It was very cool because I was able to sing the Pledge of Allegiance in front of a huge crowd, and I was able to meet some. I got honored at a Muslim caucus reception by Congressman Keith Ellison. I also got a chance to hang out with a couple of cool elected officials.
Well, can't beat that. So now, the convention for you was what, 4 days?
I was there the entire week.
The entire week. Now, did you travel down on your own, or did you kind of travel with the delegation? And
we traveled as a delegation, but I brought my mom with me, as she's always been there for me, and it would be great for her to have the experience as well, to just be there, to have a chance to meet some elected officials. And in fact, she attended some of the receptions with me, and I introduced her to some big name elected officials, and she was really excited that I'm getting involved in politics.
Well, that's good, and it's good to see that you involve your family too. So let's come back to Northern Virginia here. You got interested in politics at an early age, And obviously, your interest in politics continues to grow. And Northern Virginia is a very dynamic place. What are some of the issues that you see, the larger issues that you see out there today? And without any talking points, how would you address those? What policies? How would you tackle some of these issues?
Sure. I think one big issue is jobs, as I know many college students like myself are worried that if the government shuts down and we graduate with our prospective degrees, we will not have a job. As I know, a lot of my friends who are really scared because they are about to graduate with their bachelor's or master's, and they're afraid that if they apply for a career job, they're not going to get it because of what's been going on in Congress right now.
Well, certainly Northern Virginia is incredibly affected by the sequester and the cutback in money, and jobs have been a little bit tight for college graduates anyway over the last few years. So what's the plan B for you?
I think a plan B to avoid that in the future, I think, would be for our community and our elected officials to have meetings or town halls, just because I'm really frustrated. But by seeing what's been going on in the news with this sequestration, I'm really frustrated and I want change. The Republicans need to do their part and act as our majority leader, Harry Reid, really had a good idea, and our Democrats in Congress really had a good idea, and I think it's just really upsetting that the House leadership and John Boehner are not acting as.
Okay. Well, what would you say to the Republican response that the Senate itself has not actually drafted and passed a budget? And that's the criticism from the senior Democrat in the Senate as well, who has, not Harry Reid, of course, but in appropriations from North Dakota, who has said even he couldn't bring a budget to debate. So really, the House, the Senate has forfeited all right to criticism because they've always said, well, we'll see what the House comes up with. We'll see what the House comes up with. And when the House is Republican, they're not going to come up with anything that you're happy with.
I think, to be honest, they need to grow up and just really get in the A game. I mean, it's you're for one, you're representing the people. You're representing your communities. You need to really step it up and get a deal done that will help millions of Americans. As people count on you. You were voted to represent us.
Okay. Well, we have a couple more. So, the sequester is absolutely not a fun party of any kind. But we have a couple more things coming along, other issues. We have on March 27th of this year, we actually have to have a budget. Theoretically, people in Congress will lose their paycheck if there's not a budget. But we have to have a budget. In May, we're going to hit the debt limit. What are your thoughts about these? Are two major issues that definitely will affect your generation in many, many ways. My generation as well, but definitely your generation more than mine, because it will impact the money flow.
I think, as far as the debt limit goes, I think our elected officials and Congress and the Senate need to work together, like they did for certain bills. They need to sit down and really work together to get a deal done that would help our generation and millions of Americans. As I know from experience that if a deal is not done, then it's really frustrating for millions of Americans, such as my parents who work for the federal government. They're now afraid that they might lose their jobs if something doesn't get done.
Well, yeah, I think they kind of have fixed that somewhat, in that they will lose 20% of their paycheck at least over the next year by keeping everyone on board, but furloughing 1 day a week. But let me ask you, so you see yourself as a let's sit down and talk, let's work out something kind of deal Democrat, right?
I want to do action. I want to get work done. I'm tired of our politicians just sitting there and just not doing anything. I want changes to be made. If you're elected to represent us in Congress or the Senate, you need to get your A game. You need to grow up and really just do your job.
Okay. Well, let's look at it another way. So what happens when everyone votes the party line? And Democrats, you know, the Washington Post runs a great vote tracker. Democrats actually vote the party line, and by party line I mean along a party vote when it actually comes to vote. They vote the party line more often than even the Republicans do. So how can we move to the point where we can sit down and make a deal if really neither side, to include the Democratic side, appears really interested in like reaching out and I'll vote for yours if you vote for mine?
I think that's just upsetting. They need to grow up, and even if you say that you're going to vote for something or you support the other side, you guys need to work together to see what is the best option for this particular bill. In my opinion, if I am elected to public office, I will make changes. For one, I think we should really listen to our community and do action, as I know a lot of people that will be affected by this.
Now, in Young Democrats, so you've got your chance to reach out for community. How, in your activities within Young Democrats, do you reach out? How do you get out and meet people, and what do you hear, and
Yes.
you know, what's the level of interaction?
I've been to many political events and Young Democrats events. As like I mentioned, I'm the volunteer coordinator for Fairfax County Young Democrats. We would plan events. We would invite elected officials, and sometimes we would team up with our local committees to invite the town to like talk about certain issues. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of people were energized, and now they're really frustrated. For one, changes need to be made in Congress. As if you're not going to do your job, you need to be out.
Now, when you get out in the community and do you do things purely as Young Democrats? So therefore, people who are independents or libertarians or liberal Republicans or moderate Republicans, you know, they're kind of scared off. Do you have any like town hall or public come out and meet and greet where the Democratic sign is not on the side of the bus?
Well, we tried that once, and that didn't really work out because they knew the candidate. But what we do is when I was working for Congressman Jerry Connolly in particular, he would hold town halls a lot. Even if you don't know what party you're representing, he would hold telephone town halls and in-person town halls from citizens from the community that are really concerned about the issues. And with that outcome, we really got a lot of feedback, and a lot of people were frustrated or supportive. And I think, for one, our Congressman Jerry Connolly did a heck of a job holding town halls with the community.
Well, I've gone to a number of debates with Jerry Connolly, and from the 2010 election and he didn't debate in 2012, but under stress, Jerry Connolly has an incredible sense of humor that comes across and kind of diffuses things so you can keep on topic. I think Jerry Connolly does a fantastic job out there. So if you can learn anything from Jerry Connolly, learn how to handle an audience, because he does a great job.
Yeah, Jerry Connolly is a true inspiration to my life.
And he's a hometown boy in a way. I know you were from Prince William and you wandered off to Fairfax, but he's a Fairfax hometown boy.
Congressman Jerry Connolly is really, I'm going to say, my role model into politics, as he really got me started in politics. I started volunteering for his campaign in 2010, and then I worked countless hours making phone calls, knocking on doors, attending events that he and his staff recommended that I come on in a higher position, so I became an intern for the campaign. And that was a really good experience to get a chance to go walk to events with him or represent him at events. He's really a true inspiration.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And his office is actually about 5 or 6 doors down, his Prince William office, just 5 or 6 doors down from our studio here. Okay, so we have 2013, we have the governor election. We have several other folks running for election in Virginia as well, but we have a governor's election. And it looks like that we're going to have just 3 candidates. So it's a foregone conclusion. We're going to have Ken Cuccinelli on the Republican side, independent Republican Bill Bolling, currently the already in state office and has been for a while. And we have this person that really has not been active in Virginia other than to live here, Terry McAuliffe. Are there any other Democrats that might run that you know of?
No, I do not know of any other Democrats running for governor, but I can say personally, I've known Terry for years, and I can tell you, he's a very great inspiration to the community. He really cares a lot about the community, and I've attended a lot of his events. He really tags out a lot about the issues. I've actually, I'm planning to meet with him sometime in the coming weeks to talk to him about what's been going on at polling locations and what we need to change about it. As really, like I mentioned, if we want to change something in Virginia, the governor has to change it.
Right, yeah. Virginia is structured in such a way that if it doesn't happen in Richmond, then it doesn't happen in the counties, generally speaking. We saw that on the transportation bill, which we're yet to still figure out whether who won and who lost, even though the bill has been signed into law. But the transportation bill, and certainly we're here in Northern Virginia, the transportation bill recently passed with a lot of Democratic votes and a Republican governor pushing it, et cetera. So some evidence of working together. But transportation bill is a good example of local issues. So once we move, and 2013 is going to be interesting because there are no national elections here in Virginia that anyone's going to pay attention to. It's going to be about local issues. And Virginians tend to be quite often center-right, purple. They're not red, they're not blue. A lot of gods and guns, guns and God here. Very middle-of-the-road group that wants to talk about local issues. So what are local issues that you think that the Democrats really need to focus on?
As far as local issues go, I think we had some issues on polling on election day at the polling locations. I think our
certainly here in Prince William, Virginia, we had major issues.
Yes, I think what we need to do, we need to investigate what went on and how we can change that. As I know, I'm a precinct captain for my home precinct in Paul Tree, and I can tell you, our precinct went very well, but I was working at another precinct, and I can tell you a lot of people were frustrated because they were turned down only because they apparently their voter card was not identified. And what I think needs to be done is I think the state and the county needs to work together to make election day more smooth for everybody, especially in Fairfax and Prince William and all over the Commonwealth. Election day is supposed to be a wonderful day. It's not supposed to be where you get turned down from the polling location or you experience some issues with with the polling machines. From my perspective, I think it would be better to do a paper ballot rather than an electronic ballot. As from my experience, paper ballots are really the best way to do it. You can get out faster, and you can also you'll have like a team of people counting, so it's better than machines.
Okay. Well, as we kind of come to a close here, are there any last thoughts or maybe topics that you would like to talk about? And we're not in a rush, so if we keep going, that's fine with me.
For one, I'd like to make a public announcement that I am officially endorsing Terry McAuliffe for governor, and I am officially endorsing Anish Chopra for lieutenant governor.
Okay. And I don't know Anish. Where's Manish?
Anish.
Anish. I don't know Anish. Where is Anish from?
Anish is from Arlington, Virginia. He was a president's chief of technology at the White House. Anish really has a lot of great ideas, and I was really inspired by what he's been doing at the White House to get involved in his campaign. And when I attended some of his events, not only was I inspired by what he talked about, he's a really good public speaker. He really tends to tag a lot about the issues.
Okay, well, good. Well, I want to thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill.
And, if there's an issue or something that comes up in the future, you're always welcome to come back. And I honestly say that to everyone. We have had people call up and say, hey, Bill, I'd really like to talk about this particular issue here. And we've done 2 or 3 different sessions. So I'm Bill Golden with pwcpolitics.com, where I am senior editor. And you can also follow me on the web at Bill for Dogcatcher. That's Bill, the number 4, dogcatcher.com, or on Facebook. Just search for Bill for Dogcatcher, and I'll see you there. And once again, thank you for coming,
Thank you so much.
and take care.